Hi there folks, it's Jason here from Jason Parker Comics. Thanks once again for joining me. Today I've got something a little bit different. I'm going to be interviewing a guy who has created a comic book called Abducted. Really interesting guy, great comic, and he's going to tell us all about it. Before I do that, make sure you subscribe to my channel, and if you like this sort of thing, leave a little like for me and comment as well. That'd be great. Thank you very much, greatly appreciated. Okay, so let's bring in Jay Red, and here he is.
Hey, Jason.
Hi, Jay. How are you, mate? All right?
Doing great. How are you? Thanks for having me on.
No, thank you very much for coming along. Obviously, I'm based in the United Kingdom, and where are you based?
I'm based out of Kansas City, Missouri, so right in the middle of America there.
Oh, right, okay. So we've got a 6-hour time difference. Either one of us is going to be falling asleep, or one of us has just woken up, so... It'll probably be me falling asleep, to be fair, given my age. Anyway, we're here to talk about your fantastic comic. It's called Abducted. Where should we start? Well, I've read it. I loved it. I love the story. I love the artwork.
It took about 3 years to complete. We created it as a webcomic originally, and then released it as print issues, and then those all sold out. And so right now we have compiled it as a graphic novel. We've loaded it up with over 30 pages of bonus content, and we're releasing it on Kickstarter as a collected edition. So yeah, the story is about people who are abductees or believe they are abductees by aliens throughout their life, and then they get taken by a secretive research organization out in the American desert, where they're doing these experiments on them, and it kind of channels some otherworldly, other dimensional entities and some extraterrestrial intelligences, and kind of sort of a prison break kind of story on a huge, massive scale. So a lot of trippy imagery, a lot of action and adventure. We describe it kind of like Hunter S. Thompson, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas meets X-Files meets Stranger Things, kind of the elevator pitch.
Yeah, I was going to say it's weird. You can, when you're reading it, I mean, I can see it as a film, to be honest with you. I can actually see a proper film being made out of it. But you can see certain elements from certain films, but it still feels really fresh as well, and it's like nothing I've ever read before.
Yeah, well, thank you. We took pride to really, tell a story that we felt was kind of in a fresh way, kind of, give the reader something that they're not used to. So I'm glad you took that away from it, because that was one of our goals for the project. And
talking about your project, the Kickstarter project, I'm going to put all the links in the description. But how can people contribute to it?
Yeah, so we are currently 200% funded on Kickstarter, which we're thrilled about. The Kickstarter's been going for about 2 weeks. We've got about 2 weeks left. You can go to Kickstarter and search Abducted or Abducted the Collected Edition, or you can go to jredcomics.com. That will redirect to the campaign, or abductedthecomic.com also redirects to the campaign. We have all kinds of reward tiers, from PDFs up to physical prints, additional comics, and we're also partnering with a publishing company called Lesser Known Comics that have come in to help us promote and put the book out, and they have included their catalog of their books as tiers of their own with Abducted. and then also as additional optional add-ons. So really, there's all kinds of options for people from $8 on up to kind of help the campaign and get some really cool rewards out of it.
So talking about your artwork, it's highly stylized, your art, and what I've noticed that in some panels there seems to be quite a lot of detail. In some there's sort of not so much detail, but in some panels there's a hell of a lot of detail. And I'm looking at some of the people, and they actually look like people that you would know. Are any of the images based on people you actually know?
Some like I put myself into a lot of it just because I'm, it's easy photo reference to look at myself. So, I'll put collaborators myself sometimes in the background, or pictures of, I'll take photo reference images and use those as reference. But as far as like the main characters and things like that, I just work up some model sketches and try to keep everyone on model.
When you have the main characters, do you have in your head like someone who, like an actor or someone who could play that role, or is it just some person you've just made up completely?
Yeah, so like our dream casting would be probably the character of Doc as someone like a Jeff Bridges type actor. That's kind of how we visualized it.
Yeah. See, I had Kurt Russell.
Oh, Kurt Russell. Yeah, definitely Kurt Russell. Yeah.
Yeah.
He could totally fit that. Yeah. That would probably be the only like concrete like actor reference that I had in my head while drawing it. Yeah. I like that. I like Kurt Russell. Yeah. Would be a good fit.
Yeah, it was just something about the character I loved, and I thought, oh, that could be Kurt Russell. Yeah. Can I talk a little bit about your drawing routine? Okay, so how many hours would you say you put in a week or a day in creating like a panel or a page, say, for instance?
Sure, yeah. I would say, this took about 3 years of, off and on. It's not my day job. So, anytime I had a free moment or, nights and weekends, I was working on this thing. I would say an average page I got down to probably 8 hours, roughly averages a page, and that includes the line art, and then I would do gray shading tones over that before handing it off to Maya, who was our colorist. So yeah, about 8 hours.
So you would just do the pencils, and Maya would be doing the coloring aspect of it.
Yeah. So I started, the first issue. I was working traditionally, ink on Bristolboard, and then as the project went along, I transitioned to digital. So by the end, I was doing everything in a program, Procreate on the iPad, and so I would do pencils and inks. I don't really call it pencils because I just draw with ink, so I just kind of skip to the inking stage when working over my rough sketches to create the finished art. So I would do inks and then sort of a gray tone wash kind of a look, and then send that to our colorist.
So there's obviously a lot of collaboration that needs to go on between you and Zach. Does he have like a script, and then you sort of work in the art around that then?
Yeah, so it was a lot of back and forth because we were both co-plotting the overall story, and then he would, as the writer, take that kind of outline that we came up with and then make it better, flesh it out, do some world building, develop the characters, write out the script. He would send that to me. We would kind of go over it, make revisions. We'd work together, very collaborative. And then once we were happy with that, I would take his script. I would work out rough thumbnail drawings of each page, kind of get an idea for how many pages each issue would be, kind of work out the pacing, things like that. And that's very collaborative. I would send that to him. He would have, ideas and notes. And then once we had that kind of nailed down, I had a framework to start on the actual pages. So I could just take those sketches, blow them up, and then do the finished artwork on top, and just work it out that way. So try to keep it all very planned out, very methodical, and it just made things smooth and keep things on schedule.
Who or what are your influences art-wise?
My influences would be, and it's not reflected so much in my style, especially for Abducted, but early like Marvel and Image comics of the early 90s, mid 90s, superhero comics. That's kind of what got me into it. I don't think I don't think my style for Abducted looks quite like that. I was kind of going for more of a kind of a sci-fi, kind of a mystery, spooky kind of a look. So a lot of tones, a lot of gray washes. But those are my influences. As far as the look for Abducted, it really just kind of developed on its own and kind of became its own thing. No one influence I could say for the look of the book. Just kind of coalesced that way.
Yeah, and that's a good thing, isn't it? Because it's something that's organic from it in its own right. Then and it really does suit the book and the tone of the comic book as well. So, do you read a lot of comic books?
Yeah, so I follow a few titles. I think I just read Department of Truth. They had a new volume come out, and then I also try to support a lot of indie comics. So books from such as lesser known comics like that I'm partnering with for this book. A lot of great artists in there, stable. So I always try to support different artists. There's one coming out called Exodus Z, which I actually did a pinup for their campaign. So I try to support and read as many indie comics as I can.
Oh, that's cool. That's really, really cool. And do you have a collection yourself of like older books as well, or do you just tend to read them and sort of move on?
Yeah, I've got 3 or 4 long boxes filled with mostly Marvel stuff. X-Men and Wolverine were my big books that I read from Marvel. So yeah, tons of comics, and then bookshelves of graphic novels from all different kinds. So I'm reading through Sandman. Nice. Sandman, I think volume 2 of the new editions they came out with.
Fantastic. Now, with this graphic novel that's coming out now on your Kickstarter, is that going to be the end of it, or is there going to be more? Without giving away any endings or anything like that, are you able to say anything?
Sure, yeah. Well, we thought about it. We kind of structured it in a way where, regardless of this story, we kind of framed it in a way where we could tell other stories in this world, possibly with some of the same characters. And so, there's a big timeline there we could play with as far as what we could do. So we've kind of left that door open. We don't have any plans at the moment, but we definitely left that open. So if in the future we, come up with a great idea that would fit in this world, we would, be able to tell it.
And again, it's hard to pigeonhole, isn't it, really, this? Because there are so many different aspects to it. And again, not giving anything away, but it's not your run-of-the-mill straightforward story. It has so many different aspects to it, which keeps you guessing. It keeps you engrossed in it as well, because you just don't know what's going to come around the corner. And that's what I loved about it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that means a lot. Yeah, that's what we were going for. We wanted to sort of subvert expectations and present things in kind of a different way. So we make some creative choices there as far as, what avenues the story goes down, how we portray things, what kind of themes, we weave into it. So yeah, that was one of our goals. So yeah, I appreciate that.
No problem at all. So where can people find you on social media then, Jay?
So I am mainly on Instagram, and you could find me at it's JAY_RED _ART. So that's JRedArt. And then we also have on Instagram Abducted the comic, all one word. And then I am also on Facebook and Twitter. You can search JRed, JAYRED, and you can find me there as well.
Thank you very much for coming along today. It's greatly appreciated. I absolutely loved your book. And please, guys, go out and support this project. It is fantastic. You won't be disappointed. And I'll leave all the links in the description below. So once again, thanks very much for joining me, and take care of yourself.
Thanks, Jason.